Hey guys, welcome back. Something to do, the podcast. I know it's been a while, hiatus since Christmas time. Appreciate everybody hanging tight. Got a good one today. Got a buddy online with us that we're going to go over that new CIA file. I guess it's not new, but the CIA file talk about the Russian soldiers turned into stone. Very interesting. And I've got my buddy Jason here with me. What's up, Jason?
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's good out there.
So I know I mentioned this to you, and we were going to talk about it because we love everything UFO on this channel, anything conspiracy. Love to hear it. So, just a quick rundown of it is basically the CIA put out a document, which we're going to put up here for you guys as well. As you can see, I have Joe Rogan pulled up here. We are not actually going to listen to Joe Rogan's video because copyright stuff, but what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the actual document on the CIA.Gov website, and we're going to let Joe Rogan read it to you. So before we do that, Jason, you went and looked up the backstory on this, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. This is super interesting. And I do remember watching this episode, and I faintly remember this after looking at this document, but visually looking at it with my own eyes is an absolutely different thing. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. Unbelievable, some might say.
Yeah, it's
So
starting to go viral
super
right now.
interesting.
I heard this originally from Tim Pool, and then somebody else, Jesse on Fire, that I follow, also covered it recently within the last few days. So it's starting to make its rounds finally. But Joe Rogan did mention it when he was talking with Post Malone. So I figured we would listen to Joe read it to us, and then talk about how crazy that story is. So people, if you didn't know what's going on, let's go ahead and dive into it. You can go to CIA.gov. They have these documents open and plenty more on UFOs that they're actually declassifying for everybody. This is one from the 90s, I believe. I think it says 1991. Crazy encounter with some Russian military. Um, let's go ahead and listen to Joe Rogan read this document, and you guys can read it on the screen right there as Joe's reading it to you.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, so there's literally like a CIA document about it that these guys supposedly shot at a low-flying spaceship. Look at it. According to the KGB materials, a quite low-flying spaceship in the shape of a saucer appeared above a military unit that was conducting routine training maneuvers. For unknown reasons, somebody unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. It fell to Earth not far away, and 5 short humanoids with large heads and large black eyes emerged from it. It is stated in the testimonies by the 2 soldiers who remained alive that after freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape. That object began to buzz and hiss sharply and then became brilliant white. In a few seconds, the spheres grew much bigger and exploded by flaring up with an extremely bright light. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who had watched the phenomenon turned into stone poles. Yeah, only 2 soldiers who stood in the shade and were less exposed to the luminous explosion survived.
No shit.
The KGB
That's
report
wild,
goes
right?
on to say that the remains of
That's
the UFO
insane.
and the petrified soldiers were transferred to a secret scientific research institution near Moscow. Specialists assume that a source of energy that is still unknown to Earthlings instantly changed the structure of the soldiers' living organisms, having transformed it into a substance whose molecular composition is no different from that of limestone.
It turned them into limestone.
Turned it literally into limestone.
And this is a CIA
Nuts.
CIA
Yeah.
paperwork?
Well, this is, they're
That's
reading
insane.
from a KGB file, right? So it's just go to the very bottom of that again, Jamie. At the very bottom of that, it's just one of the things that says CIA representative stated if the KGB file corresponds to reality, this is an extremely messy case. The aliens possess such weapons and technology that go beyond all our assumptions. They can stand up for themselves if attacked. The thing is, they're saying if
That's
the
scary.
file corresponds
Yeah,
to
that's
reality,
wild right there.
This is really
I mean,
tough.
yeah, I mean, whew. I mean, what a story. And I
so
want
much
to
to
believe that.
unpack.
I want to believe that so much, that story. So they shot down the UFO. Uh, and then a 25-person battalion shows up to retrieve the wreckage and see what they shut down. 5 aliens get out, little grays, and join into one being sphere that blows up into an explosion and turns everybody into stone except for 2 guys blocked by some kind of shade or walled area where the light didn't hit them directly. It doesn't actually say what
Can I
happens to
tell
the
you my
alien.
first thought?
Yeah.
Medusa?
I mean, they don't. Maybe only because 2 people survived, but those guys describe it very descriptively. But they don't say what happens to the alien. Do the 5? Is that like a like Predator blows himself up in the end of the Arnold Schwarzenegger self-destruct, you shot me down, and then they just joined together and boom, as self-defense, so they turned everybody into stone? Because it didn't actually say,
Absolutely.
at least with the documents that we've got for this, doesn't tell us what happens
All
to
it
the
says is
aliens
that they took the
afterwards.
spacecraft. They took the spacecraft. They don't say anything about the beings. Nothing
Exactly.
about what happened to them. I think you have a good point there. If that is what happened, then they just gather together and use all their combined energy to explode. And maybe these guys were just, maybe it wasn't that they were turned into stone. Okay, maybe they were around a structure or this craft or some sort of thing. Or maybe if they hid behind something, whatever this structure was that they hid behind, maybe after this blast explosion, all that was left of these bodies maybe was nothing, and maybe there was just stones from buildings. Do you know what I mean? That's a possible theory. I do want to point out real quick, at the top of that paper, it does say paper reports alleged evidence on mishap involving UFO. So this is from a newspaper clipping article, which could very well have some truth in source.
No, these are
Um,
KGB files.
and
It says it down lower before. If the KGB
yeah,
file corresponds to reality, so this is the. I'm sure
yes,
maybe.
but this is a file say like they intercepted something that was about UFOs. And so this is a file on that interception, I believe, is what this is mainly a document of. So it's a document showing that
Well,
they had this, because
I think
if
it.
you read at the top here,
I think it
a
also
lot of
says
material from that department was found
intersect
in the bottom.
sources from Ukraine, so Kiev, which was USSR Russia. They are just breaking up, so maybe they intercepted that, during that breakup of the SSR, and Ukraine forming on that region, and intercepted that when maybe it happened in Ukraine, and they're intercepting the KGB intercepted that, maybe sent the troops in. I don't know, because the KGB sent the troops. It was the KGB troops that got turned to stone. I don't think a newspaper reported on it. This has been covered up and kept secret since 1991. And I think it says in here
Hey,
that
man.
somewhere in there is released in 2016, or when I was watching somebody else cover it, they had it and showed it was released in 2016. So I mean, almost 30 years, about 30 years, they kept that on the wraps. I mean, that was during the whole loose lips sink ships type stuff was out, like those mottos were just coming out probably because of stuff like this. But I mean, I think they describe the shape as a saucer, military unit. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to think about. I'd like to see somebody make a
Yeah,
TV show or a
absolutely.
movie reenacting this. It'd be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I mean,
Could you
just some of
imagine? I mean, you got
they'd
so
have to
much
come
to
with
do
it because, like, the description in here is the guy says a horrific picture of revenge on part of the
Yes,
extraterrestrial creatures, a picture that makes one's blood freeze. So, I mean, he's in here like,
that's wild.
I mean, the wording and tone that has been reported from these KGB ops or specialists is it's pretty wild. It's still. I mean, doesn't it? It's just fun to think about, right? It gives you that whole X Files vibes, or Mulder's going to pop out and tell you it's real. You got to believe.
Yeah, I believe if this is some truth. I mean, there's just so much. Okay, I don't want to go too fast, but
Now here's the
I
thing.
mean, there's so much
Maybe I need
going
to do
on.
another episode. Maybe I need to find and see if we can find all 250 pages, because I saw other people looking through more documents, which I think were the other 250 or the 249, and it showed other kinds of stuff that they declassified. One of them was definitely looks like the Phoenix lights. So when I was young, and I think it's 1997, big triangle V shape with a bunch multi lights like in the V shape paused over like the whole downtown area. It was giant spaceship, like mothership looking thing, hovered over the downtown, and then takes off. And then it happened again in 2001. So I was there in 97, and I remember that, and it was crazy. And you could just see it from any highway in any street at nighttime, and I think it was like 8 o'clock at
That's
night.
wild.
It was like a middle of the night, like regular evening, where everybody could see it. You know what I mean? Like, and then it happened again in
Yeah.
2001. And I think they show some of that. They show a few other things and a few other encounters. I think there's other documents of U.S. soldiers and pilots saying what they've seen. So interesting. You know what? I know we were talking MMA before this, and one of the guys is a big flat Earth guy. I love to talk shit about those flat Earth people, but when they're always like, I've seen
It's silly.
the sun and the moon are local. There's pictures of like the sun glowing in between the clouds and stuff like that. Well, one, nobody's ever flown over that motherfucker. You know what I mean? So if it's local, fly over and take a picture and show me. Two, are you sure that's just not an alien glowing inside the thing and you thought it was a sun? You know what I mean? Like, Earth's
Yeah.
actually round. They're just aliens flying around.
Yeah. All right. Can I ask you, as far as aliens, what do you think about the? Have you heard about the Tic Tac on Mars?
Attack on Mars. I think somebody was saying
Go
something
ahead
like
and
that,
search
but
Mars Tic
every
Tac there.
every day I'm hearing somebody talk some stuff about Mars. So
They also apparently found water.
yeah, they did in a crater. Is that what you're talking about? Like
That's
that
pretty
formed a
wild.
lake. Oh wait, I don't want to go to Reddit. We'll go to the sun. The U.S. Let's see, Tic Tac. Whoa, mysterious, perfectly smooth Tic Tac UFO spotted on Mars, and NASA photos sending alien hunters into frenzy online. So everybody's going into a frenzy. Oh, this thing right here,
What the fuck is that?
a blurry ass Tic Tac. Let's see. Then Discovery Mars Curiosity rover cam before the image was posted to Reddit, sending space fanatics into a frenzy. Wait. This AI enhanced image? Ah, you sure AI didn't smooth that out? They put that filter all the chicks use on it, and it's like,
Oh,
ooh, now I'm
come
round and
on.
smooth.
Oh shit, they got me.
Got me. Hold on, let me keep looking.
Is the
Images were
water
captured
on
by
Mars
NASA robot on
purple too?
Mars. Let's see the stitch lines. Blah blah blah. Let's see. It's Curiosity rover mass cam. Blah blah. March 2020. Check out casting shadows of the surface. Notorious. Let's see. The sun kind of sucks. I feel like they're fake news. I guess they said it popped off on Reddit. Maybe I will go to Reddit. God damn it. Let's see. The recent image
Every
posted in this
time.
was AI upscaled, which AI trying to Thanks to right hands, I could not find the evidence of the picture being upscaled. So somebody's like, oh, the picture ain't, and it's not doctored, but saying it's doctored. Let's see, Mars Cam. I'm trying to find the actual footage from the Curiosity rover and see. Let's see. $16. Is there a way I can search a date range on here? Oh, wait, this is it. All right, where's the other image? Let's compare. So what this dude's got. See, look, these are pretty smooth. Like, I mean, it could just be a bad picture. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think
I'm
they got me.
We'll see. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Reddit's got some more. I got some comparisons over here. It's gonna rickroll me. It's gonna be all dancing in a second. I mean, that's blurrier than a Bigfoot photo. I don't know.
Yeah, that's way blurrier than Bigfoot.
Which Bigfoot is real, y'all? He's real. They're drawing wieners.
Really fake.
Oh no, I'm not convinced on
He's the guy
the smooth
drawing
tic tac,
wieners,
bro.
put it on the back of your window of your car.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that was some BS. Okay, what about this then? Still on the aliens. What's up with the freaking pyramids, man? Is this real or is it not? Like, it's like,
Oh,
it's not peer reviewed.
you're talking about the images
like,
of the ultra or ground penetrating
pylons,
software. Yeah. Where
the ground penetrating radar, yeah.
you didn't know the
What is the
pyramids are
deal?
just big old batteries, man. Power source.
Them goddamn batteries. Look at the pyramid top. That's a dead giveaway. It's like a dang old space poopy. Yeah, but apparently it's just not been peer reviewed. But I mean, nobody's really refuting it otherwise. Like,
Somebody said that they went back and did a double take up recently, and that they are still trying to confirm that it's still shit under there. So I know what you're talking about. That shit's all over every social media. And I'm like, I'm waiting for them to actually tell me. I don't know they're not going to be able to go dig under there. Or they're not going to let them open up any chambers that they could find inside the pyramids. But it's also fun to believe.
yeah,
I like to believe either mole people or reptile people.
He wants to find it.
That's right. That's where the Bigfoots live, bro. You trying to fucking wake up the horde of Sasquatches?
Could you imagine if there is something down there?
Well, did you ever watch those Godzilla versus King Kong movies?
No.
So the whole thing, the whole theory is that hollow Earth, basically, it's a bunch of caves that interlink all around the world, and they're big enough for the King Kongs and them, and they only come out when great disaster is about to happen or something like that, you know. So or something has disturbed them.
Mitchell explain Hollow Earth.
Yeah, how does he explain Godzilla?
That's true.
That's right.
Dinosaurs.
Checkmate. I don't know. I pulled up the Egyptian Independent, and they're gonna just tell you that it's all BS or whatever. But look, what's crazy is you can see that image, right? You can see the image on here.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy to think that all the movies, it's like they're lost in the desert for 30 days, and really there's like this city right across the street. The highway runs like 50 feet from them. Look, that's the highway. People driving to and from work or just have to drive by the big pyramids, and there's like a Pizza Hut right across the street over here. They're like,
direction.
Dude's starving and he's lost in the desert, and the dude's over here eating Taco Bell. They're like stupid Americans.
Stupid American. You just come to ride camel.
Yeah, but aliens real? Our government made up. What do you know?
Dude.
Real? Elon's trying to tell me they're not real,
I mean,
or he's
tell
never
me,
seen
are
any
you
yet.
telling me, hold on, are you telling me we're the only thing out there in this whole vast fucking space that we could see?
I don't know. There might be like worms on Mars or something.
Exactly.
That counts, right?
There could be something
They're
that's
gonna evolve
intelligent
into,
enough to get to us.
right? Do you think we go to
I think we're
Mars?
just. Do you think we get Great Reset before then?
Like another great catastrophe, like the big floods or something? Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Possibly. Recently, Rogan had a guy on his
There's
podcast.
like 2035 or something.
Well, Rogan had a guy, and I believe Tim Pool had a guy where they're talking about the poles are about to flip, and there's evidence that they've already started shifting, and that it's going to be like one of those things, like in the afternoon, boom, they flip sideways, and then all the water and the earth realigns, or yeah, and that's why we're finding like vegetation and things in places that we don't usually do, like on mountain peaks and stuff, because that happens when they're underwater for a while and they flip upside down or something, and then that's why we've like found ancient plants and stuff on Antarctica, because when it flips, it's going to be at the equator, and then that will be the heat up and melt, and it reflows the earth and kind of like recycles and cleans itself, and does that every once in a
Damn.
while.
So we're like right in between. Will we be like Canada, or will we just kind of stay in the same? Which way would we shift?
We would be, if it shifted, depends on
Like
which way it shifts. So we would, if it,
yeah.
it we, I mean, if it
Like
shifted and we
what
just stayed on,
axis?
and we,
What
yeah,
axis?
exactly. But it's when the poles flip. So the poles, so if it flipped 90 degrees, and so we would be either the South Pole or the North Pole at that point, right?
Well, that would be 180 degrees. 90 degrees would just be.
Yeah, but we're like right in the middle. So if it went 90, it would like flip us like right on the North Pole or right on the South Pole.
That's what I'm saying.
Who knows? You know how they said Pangea was one continent and then it split. Maybe it was something like that. The Earth flipping, the water's changing, and tides cutting the tectonic plates or whatever, and it's shifting the lava underneath, because everything's got to shift.
Yo,
The lava underneath the planet, if
maybe
the
the
poles flip,
Grand Canyon. Maybe
it
the
fills up
Grand
with water.
Canyon was the ocean, was an ocean shifting. The ocean from Texas shifting, fucking over to the like Atlantic or to the Pacific.
Well, just think about this. We have a super volcano in Wyoming and
Oh, I
Montana,
know.
right there in
I know.
Yellowstone. If that shifts and then fills up with
Yeah.
ocean water, does that create it to explode? And we got new mountains. It could do all kinds of stuff. Like
We got
any
new
volcano
land
that
over there.
shifts and fills up with ocean water could make it volatile, where it restructures the whole Earth. It could blow gases into the atmosphere and kill most life that's not, or force us back into caves. Maybe we turn into grays and we were like, good thing we left. Maybe Elon's trying to get us off the planet before it shifts.
Could you imagine like 40 years of just like tumultuous weather and like floods and earthquakes and hurricanes and tornadoes?
Well,
How do you survive that as a
all the
civilization?
Bibles, Torahs, Qurans all talk about the floods. So every
Oh,
religion's got
I
the big
know. That's
flood
what I'm
in it,
saying.
and it could be, yeah, the poles were flipping during that time frame. And it could have been something crazy like that. And speaking of that, I believe the CIA also put out a new document saying that they found the petrified remains of Noah's Ark in Turkey.
What?
Yeah, yeah. See if I can
What?
find
Hold on, hold on.
anything on that real quick.
CIA Noah's Ark. Yo.
Did you find it?
What? Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, another CIA.Gov document about any having the evidence of the Noah's Ark. There's all kinds of stuff that we're finding now, but supposedly they've been searching for it for a long
40,
time.
49.
And supposedly they use remote viewing to do it. You know what remote viewing is?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, of course, if you
So
watch Ancient
people are
Aliens,
just
you would
seeing
know.
this.
Yeah, psychic abilities. They, they get something written down in an envelope, and they meditate, and then they can transverse visions of these objects across space and time, and it seems pretty cool idea. I want to believe, but supposedly, I've seen a lot of stuff where it does look like it kind of works, or it could work, or that you could tap into that. And that's how they got wind of where Noah's Ark could be and use a gang of satellites and all kinds of stuff to kind of just make this discovery. Pretty wild, right?
Well, have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
Maybe,
I
maybe.
haven't looked into a lot of it, but yeah, they've got studies on basically these non-speaking, non-verbal autistic children that have telecommunicative properties with their parents, with each other. Apparently they all speak of this place that they call like the hill, that they all collectively meet at as a like conscious, and kids from across the world that have never met each other have spoke about other children. Like, it's fucking nuts, dude. It's giving me goosebumps just thinking about it. That shit's it freaks me out. Like, I think there's something more that we're not tapped into that some people just have an ability to tap into, maybe because they're not using other, you know, resources in their brain.
Or maybe their blood's full of
They're using more.
cortexiphan, and now they've got abilities that were latent. That's from a
Let's
show
go.
called Fringe, where they kind of have like a whole theme based kind of on that kind of same kind of theme, and they're experimenting on children. It was
Absolutely.
pretty good series. I liked it up until the Fox was probably like wrap it up because the last season really didn't make sense. It was like they were just kind of rushed the ending, kind of like Lost. Bummer because it was real good up until then, and they were really going somewhere, and they were just like, "Yeah, the storyline's not working for us anymore. Let's go this route." And I rewatched it again to make sure
Absolutely.
because I was kind of lost there for a minute, and I was like, I rewatched the season again and was like, "Yeah, they just fucking move on." Again, spoilers, sorry guys, but yeah, if you haven't seen Fringe, you're missing out. Shit's been out for like 20 years, so get with the program.
Hey, I think you've got, Ace. Honestly, you got 6 months. Get to it.
That's right. I mean, the show is like 6 seasons. It was out for like 6 years or 5 years, and then it's been off air for probably 15 or 20 years. Come on, guys. With the program, good Fox programming there. Family stuff with death and sci-fi.
Absolutely.
Well, Jason, what do you think about the whole aliens thing? Definitely real. Have you ever had any close encounters yourself?
Okay, so I've been to Marfa. I thought I saw some Marfa lights, but it could have been stuff on the highway. It could have just been satellites. Um, I've thought I've seen stuff. I have no proof. I have no evidence. It's all, like theoretical, in my own head. How much is it that we're like fed from a very young age? We're always taught the little gray aliens, big heads, big eyes. You see it, in movies and television and cartoons. You see it at the fair when you're a little kid and you get a stuffed animal and he's got these big giant eyes and this big green head, So how much of that is like ingrained in you already that, you have that?
Right, when
I
pop
don't think
culture
necessarily
has
that's what
described
they
it,
are.
and there's been stories out through history and
Yeah.
weird anomalies.
Yeah.
It definitely intrigues the mind, and you definitely if you're intrigued any, you're probably like, I want to believe something else is out there. We're not alone in the universe, and I probably all humanity's got a little bit of that in them. But also, I'm scared. Don't come in contact with us. Also, if you're observing stuff like that, if you're the alien side, you don't want to have any contact, because if they know you're out there, they might act differently. It's kind of like that whole South Park episode where they're Earth's the TV show and they don't know they're a TV show, and then when they find out, it's like, well, now we got to cancel it off air type thing. Not to say that aliens are
Yeah.
going to destroy us or anything, but when we watch wildlife, we do it with trail cams and stuff, so we get them in their natural environment. They're not acting weird because they think a predator or somebody's watching them around. So if there are aliens and they are observing us, or we are an experiment or something like that, they're not just out there going to let us know, because that kind of ruins the experiment. And then once the experiment's ruined, I don't know, but when I'm done with the lab equipment, I clean it and put it up. And I'd hate for them to try to do that to us. You know what I mean? Especially if they can conjoin into balls of energy and turn us into stone. Which also, have you ever seen the stone warriors in China that they've uncovered? The terracotta warrior. Is that the same thing where they all like marching towards this aliens and they're like, boom, the whole complex turned into stone, and that's how we get all those stone men, because there's like thousands of them. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be crazy, right?
Interesting.
Are they?
Would be wild.
Maybe I should have looked up and seen if they were
Was that
any
a
kind of
sacrifice?
limestone.
Like,
Were they like a limestone material? Because that would be
I
right.
think
You'd be like,
so.
"Oh, checkmate." You know what I mean?
That is pretty funny. Isn't the pyramids made of limestone?
Possibly. So, what are you saying, that they just bunch of dead people?
Maybe just a bunch of dead people. Those dead people came from, maybe they just stacked a pile of dead people up right there and just zapped them.
Some people like to say maybe the pyramids are built by aliens, but I like to believe that they're built by giants. That's for another episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, notification bell, hit some likes, leave us comments. Tell us what else you want us to talk about. We'll get on here. I get on here more often, talk a bunch of shit. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.